Wait a minute, that's not Google. No. That's the Google we have at home. If you type anything into that, you're going to end up on some crappy website from the 90s that only 3 other people have ever been on. And it's going to have more misinformation than a Kent Hovind seminar at a How to Be the World's Biggest Liar conference.
Young Earth creation.
How did I get here? I was just trying to search for porn, I mean science, and now I'm in this coffee shop. And you can tell it's a real coffee shop because of the way it has the word coffee in great big letters on the wall. Although to be fair, if you have young Earth creationists as your customers, you are going to have to make everything as obvious as possible to make sure they don't start trying to climb inside a percolator thinking this is some kind of exotic bathhouse.
And many people in the scientific community, they've bought into the concept of the Big Bang.
Bought into? What are you talking about? No one's buying into it. It just happens to currently be the best explanation we have for the expansion of the universe. And it has the best explanatory and predictive power available to us. If something better comes along that does those things, better, then people will use that instead. Especially when compared to young Earth creation, aka YEK, aka now to be pronounced like the sound of a dying yak. It is like saying people buy into airplanes as a convenient and fast way to transport goods and people over long distances when I have this perfectly good cardboard box and the power of imagination. Okay, have fun with that, but we'll be over here getting things done.
And along with that, they've concluded that science teaches that the Earth is billions of years old.
Science doesn't teach that. Science concludes that based on this little thing we like to call evidence. Evidence that, mind you, flies in the face of anything concluding that the Earth is anything other than very, very, very fucking old. Mostly because it is.
Many of these people suggest that it's ignorant to believe in anything other than the Big Bang.
It's only ignorant if you're presented with all the evidence that demonstrates how accurate it is, and you look at those mountains and mountains of proof and then turn around and say, but have you read the Bible though? It says it's not that old. And I think I'm going to believe the book that says that itself is true over some silly, tangible, demonstrable evidence. Thank you very much. On the other hand, if you have some actually good reason for not believing in the Big Bang Theory, such as an explanation for the expansion of the universe that's better, then please do share. But do make sure it isn't fucking stupid, because then, unfortunately, I'm going to have to take the piss out of you. It's like the law. I don't want to go to jail. Again.
And they believe that any person who says that the Earth is only a few thousand years old must be an unscientific, uneducated person.
Well, okay, fair enough, but there's a good reason for that. It's because, right, every single believing person is invariably an unscientific, uneducated moron. At least when it comes to what the science actually says about the origins of the universe. Because if you follow the science, it is literally impossible to square it with what is written in the Bible. So, if you want us to stop saying that, maybe you should stop being so unscientific and uneducated. Seem fair?
Is it true that those who believe that the universe was created by God only a few thousand years ago are ignorant and unscientific?
Of what the evidence points to in regards to when the Earth formed and how the universe came to be the way it is today? 100%. Now, does that mean they're wrong about everything they believe? No, of course not. Very smart people can believe very smart things, but very smart people can also believe very silly things. Because the thing about very smart people is they are people. And people, especially the smart ones, are really, really good at justifying the things they believe, no matter how staggeringly and obviously wrong they are. That doesn't mean they suddenly stop being wrong, does it?
Truth is, no. Science isn't on the side of the Big Bang.
No. You're just wrong here, or lying. But as I am such a nice arsehole, I'm going to assume that you're just being really stupid. The fact is, if you actually really, really want to know what the science says about a particular subject, you have to, and I know this is just going to sound awful, but you have to learn. Oh, I know it hurt me just to say it. And not just that, well, I read things that I want to be true kind of learning, but the kind where you learn things regardless of them fitting your worldview. And if you want to learn about science, you're going to have to study actual science. And unfortunately for you, and what you want to believe, the science absolutely supports the Big Bang Theory as we currently understand it. Anything else is pure pseudoscience, mate.
It's not on the side of the old Earth scenario. When all of the scientific information is considered.
All of the scientific information. What, do you have something we haven't seen? Are you hiding it from us? Why would you do that? Unless what you mean by all the scientific information is believing in God real hard and only ever reading the Bible when, yeah, sure, you're going to think some pretty stupid things. But the fact is, mate, if you have even heard of a fraction of the scientific information out there, I would be fucking staggered, mate.
The concept of a young Earth fits the evidence much better.
No, it fucking doesn't. Yeah, you thick bastard. Like, seriously, just saying that doesn't make it true, yeah? Or are you going to show us how that's the case? In the, oh, fuck me, this video isn't even 3 minutes long. Yeah, I seriously doubt you are even going to begin to be able to make that case. How about we will all continue using the Big Bang model and all its useful predictions and explanations, and you get back to us when you can do better. But I won't be surprised if it takes a while.
For instance, when scientists look at the decay rate of Earth's magnetic field, or the amount of sodium in the oceans.
Excuse me, don't you start gish galloping while I enjoy a good trot. You have to at least make a case for your point and not just move directly on to the next. Like, are you actually going to explain what you mean by the decay rate of yada yada? Or are you just going to say words and hope that nobody asks any of those damned pesky questions?
Or the rate at which comets disintegrate, or the amount of helium in minerals. Old Earth scenarios just don't fit the data.
Oh, right, you aren't, are you? It's just, here's a list of things that support my claim. How and why and what do they do to suggest that? Why don't you fuck off, Mr. Nosy Pants? If you want explanations, you can get them from D's Nuts. Got 'em? Well, no, I won't get them from D's Nuts, because the explanatory power of D's Nuts has been rather lacking of late.
Furthermore, the historic information found in the most accurate ancient book in the world.
Are you trying to say that the Bible is the most accurate ancient book in the world? I mean, even if that were true, all that does is say that all other ancient texts are even more woefully inaccurate, seeing as the Bible is chock full of utter nonsense, much of which does not line up with historical data that we have. My God, half the time the Bible doesn't even agree with itself, although that's unsurprising considering it was written and edited piecemeal over various centuries by various individuals with varying agendas. It's a wonder that the thing stays stitched together considering how the words are trying so hard to get away from each other on a near constant basis.
Agrees with the scientific data for a young Earth.
See, that was very clever. Because, you see, right, the Bible does indeed agree with the scientific data that supports a young Earth. It's just that all the scientific data for a young Earth is faulty and wrong, and the rest of the data, the overwhelming preponderance of evidence, crushes that data into the nothing that it is, as it instead supports an old Earth. So yeah, it's all well and good having things that support your conclusions, but if literally everything else doesn't, then you are being goddamn ignorant and unscientific. I wonder if anybody could have told you that already.
If we were to ask if the concept of a young Earth is a scientific idea,
you would be laughed out of the room? Well, unless we're talking like a jillion years ago when we didn't have all the evidence and experimental data that we have today. Then you might have gotten a, let's find out. And then you could spend all the time you want figuring it out. And if you actually wanted to know the truth, the actual factual facts, you would follow that data and come to the inevitable conclusion that no, it's not a scientific fact. At which point you would ask the question again because you weren't even fucking listening. Is young Earth scientific?
You serious? I just told you that a moment ago.
Right.
We'd find that numerous highly educated scientists advocate a young Earth as the best explanation for the scientific data.
Yes, I am sure that there are in fact a number of highly intelligent, highly credible, and highly capable scientists who advocate that the scientific data supports a young Earth. Unfortunately, they never seem to be highly intelligent, highly credible, and highly capable scientists in the fields where they would be properly able to understand that data. They tend to be rocket scientists or engineers or anything that doesn't have much to say in its own field about the age of the Earth or the universe. For some reason, the highly intelligent, highly credible, and highly capable scientists in the fields that actually fucking count, for some baffling reason, seem to think that the world is actually incredibly old and the universe older still. I wonder why the people who understand the specific science would lie like that. I mean, it's the only explanation. That or they are all just a bunch of idiots who have just been goofing about, not really doing anything, except all the work that they do. Although, there is a third explanation. Maybe, just maybe, they know something that you, and more importantly, those big brain smart guys from other fields, don't know. It would be nice if they fucking listened to the experts in other fields, as I am sure they are listened to by others. It's a basic fucking courtesy. But no, you're all just much smarter than them, I'm sure.
Currently, I work with a man who has a PhD in astrophysics from the University of Alabama.
And he told you to stop saying this wacky bullshit and just listen to him for once in your goddamn life? No, I'm kidding. He wouldn't say that, because I'm betting he doesn't fucking exist. That, or it's just one of the cleaners, and he's been puffing up his qualifications a little bit.
Once again, Dr. Jan Itor.
Although, to be fair, I would trust the crazy janitor from Scrubs over literally anything this guy has to say, so...
A NASA employee with a PhD from MIT.
See, isn't it just a bit weird that he's not naming these people? It's almost as if they actually don't fucking exist. You know that God doesn't like it when you lie, mate? It's like one of his rules and shit. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even want you to lie for his sake. Seeing as if you have to lie to protect the truth, it's probably a shitty truth.
A physicist with a PhD from Auburn University.
You know what? If I was one of the higher ups at one of these universities, I would be looking into taking legal action against these clowns. Because he's basically sitting there and saying, this and this and this university, yeah, those places spin out absolute morons by the dozen. I wouldn't go there if I were you, because your PhD won't be worth the paper it's printed on. And yeah, I know that the count will be, but... if he says who they are, they might get chucked out of their universities for not towing the line. And look, if they are really these things, and they are creationists as well, and they want to talk to this dickweasel on their own time, but continue to do good, proper science otherwise, there isn't going to be a problem. It's when they start making shit up and pretending it's science and going out and trying to convince everybody of it without actually doing the science that things get a bit sketchy. Although again, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm pretty sure Dr. Made-Up Name really isn't coming forward anytime soon for entirely fictional reasons.
And all of these individuals conclude that the scientific evidence supports a young Earth.
Well, they would, wouldn't they? I mean, let's just say for a minute that they are real and they are creationists. Well, they have two options. They either have to take a critical look at their beliefs and come to the conclusion that, in fact, none of the scientific evidence aligns with their worldview, and they would then promptly have to abandon. Yuck! But considering they haven't, then they have gone the other route of hammering what little evidence they can find into shape to allow it to fit the preconceived worldview of the universe that they already have. Unfortunately, that means they aren't particularly good at this whole science thing, because you should never do that. The evidence shows what it shows, and you can either accept that or you can be wrong.
In the book In 6 Days, 50 scientists are on record who have doctor's degrees.
Who have doctor's degrees? Which doctors? Did they take them? What do you mean by that? And how many of them exactly are astrophysicists and NASA boys? I'll bet it isn't many of them. In fact, the ones who go on record because they are actually real people you can talk to, I would be shocked if it was exactly none of them. Did I say shocked? I meant completely and totally unsurprised. And even if you did have 50 actually qualified boys, the opinions of scientists don't decide the science. The evidence does. Reality does. So they could say that the sky is made from onions. For all I would care, it wouldn't make them any less wrong.
Who contend that the scientific evidence points to the conclusion that an intelligent designer created the world in 6 literal 24-hour days.
Well, I have no idea what evidence they are looking at, but it must be drawn in crayon on the back of the actual evidence, because the only possible way you could come to that conclusion is if you had the educational level of a fucking infant. And I mean like one of the really stupid ones who won't stop trying to eat their own shoes. Look, I had very tasty shoes as a child. What do you want from me?
In fact, virtually every survey that's been done in the past several decades has shown that about 40% of all Americans believe that God created the universe in pretty much its present form.
What the f*** does that have to do with anything? Argumentum ad populum is a logical fallacy, not a convincing point. And if anything, what you said there is just a depressing indictment of the American education system and its complete inability to overcome some very, very silly ideas people have. Also, proof positive that 40% of Americans aren't scientists of any kind, obviously.
About 10,000 years ago, young Earth creation fits perfect
with the thing that I want to believe, so it must be true by the rule of I'll be sad if I'm proven wrong. Unfortunately, wanting to believe something and it being true are seldom bedfellows. Otherwise, there'd be none of that worthless water on the planet and only delicious life-sustaining whiskey. Seriously, what is even the point of taps?
with all of the available scientific and historic evidence. Young Earth creation is a scientific, an accurate, a right idea.
That is true if you take out scientific, accurate, and right. Yak is an idea. That's the best it can be called, without immediately damning it for its sheer, unrelenting stupidity and overwhelming wrongness. And of course, its complete inability to accurately represent anything ever. Oh, if only I could make you all shut the hell up with the click of a button. Damn, I am jealous.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the